Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of FAW Review. I am joined here by Roboctopi. So how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Fine, thank you. It's a pleasure having you guys here. So if you don't mind, I'd like to start with my first question.
Sure.
So what is FTC and what are some basic differences between FRC and FTC?
Caleb, you want to answer that?
hmm to me, FTC is teams collaborating with each other to design, program, and control the robots to compete with other teams in each year's game to learn important skills together, like us and the build team and software team and such.
What are some differences between FRC and FTC?
For the main differences between FRC and FTC are the size constraints of where FTC has medium-sized robots, I would say, and FRC has more larger-sized robots, which they use on a larger playing field as well.
Right, so I would like to make a follow-up. So how did you guys manage this, pandemic times, let's say, because it's been, quite tough on everyone. Like, how did you guys manage that?
Yeah, so we've actually 3D printed a lot of personal protective equipment, or PPE. So my brother and I, Nico, are actually from Italy originally. And as you know, in Italy, the pandemic was one of the first places where it hit really hard. And so we knew that we wanted to help out when it came to the US. And so since we had 3D printers, we were able to start 3D printing face shields and mask tighteners. And so we printed over 1,000 and printed and delivered over 1,000 face shields. And then we've also used this time to connect with other teams virtually, like we're doing right now. And we've done a lot of virtual meetings with our own team. And we've started planning for next season, and we've recruited new members. Lauren here, she's joined us, and she's the new member that we recruited.
Right, wonderful execution. So my other question is like, what was Roboctopi's, first journey? Like, how did you guys start? Like, what were the hardships that you faced, and
Nico?
Sure, I'll answer that. So, our first journey started in FLL, or First Lego League, and that was the time for really our team founders to really learn what robotics is about and how everything works, just by using some basic parts and some basic code. And we started with our first year building a tracked robot, and decided we would never build a tracked robot again because we had some issues with that. And then we moved into our second year, and we were still going on with FLL and building the science project that was also required, along with just the competition of the robot. But after the end of that year, we decided it was time to step up. And so we moved up to FTC and continued our learning there. And we've learned a lot since then. We've been able to work with more advanced parts, be able to manufacture our own parts with, like Alex said, 3D printing. We also have a laser cutter, and we're planning to get a CNC. And also working with more advanced code. So instead of just block code like in FLL, we're now using actual text code, which can do more complex tasks. So that's kind of been our journey. And in the first year of FTC, we built another tracked robot, ironically, even though we said we would never do one again. So it's kind of the funny story around the tracks. So yeah, now in this past season, we've continued to improve our skills, teaching ourselves how to CAD so that we can prototype more complex parts. Our coders are doing more complex software with encoder and field-centric driving and a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of other cool stuff. So that's been our 4 years so far in First.
Right. So one of the things that caught my interest while I was kind of like looking through your guys' this timeline is that you are a community-based team. So like, what are the pros and cons of being a community-based team?
Seth, do you want to answer that?
Okay. So one of the main things about being a community-based team is we're not affiliated with any school, which comes with its advantages and disadvantages. Some of the advantages are we don't have to only have people from school, so we have a larger pool of people to recruit from. Also, we have the freedom to make our own decisions for the team rather than having like a school board or something decide that. And we can also work on our robot and code outside the school year. A disadvantage to that, though, is we have to fundraise ourselves because, like, there's no school that is giving us funding. One of the cool things about being a community team is we get to make an impact in our community. That's the community and community team. And we can more easily engage with the community because we're a community team. We can introduce kids to robotics, mentor other teams, and that also brings in an advantage because through helping our community via our social media account, we can more easily get sponsorships because sponsors can see their name up on our social media account and a lot of people will see their name. So, yeah.
Well, right. Wonderful. So moving on to my last question, if you guys don't mind, is so like where will we see Roboctopi in like 2 or 3 years? Like what are you guys' future goals?
Lily, you want to answer?
So some of our future goals for the upcoming season and just all of the seasons after that are for the past seasons we haven't been able to acquire funding before the season, so the funding that we have got has come during the season. So we are hoping to be able to get a base of fundraising before the season starts in September so we can make sure that all of our goals can be met. We've also witnessed that a lot of the higher level teams have built 2 robots each year instead of 1. We are also hoping to be able to do this with our required funding so that we can have more team learning and more team participation. This can also help us with this can also help us in our competitions and helping us able to work on more things while we're still competing. We are also hoping to become a traveling robotics team this year, which we most likely will not be able to do because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but we are hoping to be able to compete in both the Arizona and Northern California FTC regions because our region is, the San Diego FTC region is one of the most difficult regions in the world to qualify for the World Championships from because only 3 out of 70 teams qualify.
Right. So if you guys would like to add like anything, if you like to, like forward your Instagram account, like feel free. The stage is yours if you'd like to add anything else.
Our coach just joined us. This is Mike.
Hi.
I'm old school today. I've got our shirt on from all the way back to our Lego League days.
And this is our shirt currently.
Oh, nice.
This is a
That's actually.
Pikachu.
Wow. So, sir, would you like to add anything? You joined right at the end, so I'm sorry. You kind of joined that in the last minute. So if you'd like to add anything, the stage is yours. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know what was discussed.
Like your guys' future goals, and how is it to be like a community team, the difference between FRC and FTC, and so on.
I'll just speak to future goals real quick. So we've been a team for 4 years. This is our 5th year. This is our 3rd year in FTC. As far as like from my standpoint as the coach, I don't look at each season as a discrete season. So I look at each season as a stepping stone for the next season. So our first season in FTC, Roboctopi, was all about just like figuring out what FTC is, right? Last season was all about building a dominant platform within our region, right? Like software, hardware. How do we become one of the premier teams in our region? Well, like we want to establish ourselves as a team that other teams aspire to be, right? Not only in terms of our hardware and software, but also our professionalism, how we approach other teams and offer help to them, and how we present ourselves like in the community and on social media. Next season is how do we expand that and become a team that's recognized by teams like yourself around the world, right? We want to be able to help teams not only in our own region and be recognized by teams in our own region, but also be recognized by teams around the world as a team that can provide to them mentorship and guidance, and also that they aspire to be like us. So that's really, we want to build each year. We're not building a new robot every year. We're building systems that can be reused and become more advanced each season.
Right. So, wow, that's quite interesting. It's very rare that, we get reached out by FTC teams as an FRC team. That's the reason it's always interesting meeting and talking to FTC teams. So again, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. So, start stand off. Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, and take care.